Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business SupplySide Showcase, sponsored by the Pennsylvania RV and Camping Association. The Hershey RV Show is coming up before you know it, so better get ready. I'm Rick Kessler from RV Business. Joining me, Chris Cieto, also from RV Business, and the two of us are joined by Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy is with Lightspeed, and Jeremy, the best way I can describe your title is you are all about the OEM relationships.
That is 100% correct. So since day one in my previous jobs, I get to travel out to the different OEMs and manufacturers, as well as obviously multiple phone calls, and we try to work on new integrations between their systems and the Lightspeed DMS system.
And again, just a refresher, the DMS is the dealer management system or software system that Lightspeed provides, quickly been adopted by a good majority of the dealerships out there. One other thing I forgot to mention when I introduced you is you are a shareholder for the Green Bay Packers. Very important.
Very important. Even though
Chris,
I'm from Minnesota, I'm still a loyal Packers
Wow.
fan. So yes.
Well, Jeremy, as we move through the midpoint of 2025, what is getting you excited about your partnerships with the RV OEMs? What's cooking?
Well, lots is cooking. So probably now we're probably going on about a month and a half ago. Myself and Gary Einert spent a week out in Elkhart and had some phenomenal meetings. So we met with Forest River, we met with Jayco, well, we met with Grand Design, we met with Alliance RV. We got to tour the RVTI, which was really cool. And then we went out and toured Fun Country or Fun Town RV's PDI Center, which is a whole different topic, which I was kind of surprised that there's ginormous buildings out there working on that. But yeah, since coming out of those meetings, I mean, we are continuing to lead the charge with integrations. One of the coolest things out of there is, as you saw earlier this month, I think on the 2nd, we did a press release for Alliance RV. So we now have VIN decoding. And what VIN decoding is you bring your camper into service, they create a record for you in a repair order, and they have to put the unit on there, obviously, because that might be sent over for submission to the OEM or not. But instead of having to
Mhm.
type in a bunch of information, they can simply put a VIN, hit our little binocular button, and it'll pre-populate a bunch of information about that unit. So that's kind of exciting, and we're starting to build that out with a lot more OEMs. And then by having the price books in our system takes away a lot of the maintenance that the dealers have to do. Obviously, tariffs have been a very big topic with everybody. So with Alliance, we're getting a weekly update. So if anything changes in pricing, they'll load in the price book through Lightspeed. And then if as any prices change on a weekly basis, it'll automatically update in their system. Versus we do have the ability for dealers to load what we would say a custom price book that they would source from their manufacturer or OEM or distributor and then upload it. But then it would be up to the dealer to do updates at some point, because again, you got price changes, you got new products, you got products leaving, you got super sessions with products having new part numbers on there. So a lot goes in it. And it's been something that Lightspeed has done for a long time. And we currently author almost 300 price books through all of our industries. And we're just really getting going in the RV. So current books today, we have all the Forest River brands. Working with Keystone, so we got Dutchman and Coachman, and then Winnebago, and then we just recently this month added Alliance. So we're still trying out to get more books. It just makes it simpler for the dealers. They shouldn't have to manage this stuff because again, we want them being profitable. And as we
Right.
all know, in all the years, I've never seen prices typically go down on parts. If anything, they're going up. Even tariffs aside, there will be
Sure.
incremental, increases in that. and we would hate for them to sell a part that their cost is wrong or the MSRP is wrong and they're not making as much profit as they can.
Hmm. Jeremy, just a real quick aside. For me personally, I'm standing here on the sidelines looking at everything you guys are doing. Just the advancements we've made in the last 5, 10 years with the data efficiencies that you guys are
Yes.
at the forefront of is just truly astounding. And kudos to you guys.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I was, as well as you guys, out in obviously Arizona earlier this year at the leadership conference. And one of the things that really stood out to me is when they had the panel with uh, Jared McGee, which is the CEO of or owner of Funtown RV. And one of the things that he talked about is how far backwards technology right now is with the RV industry. Primarily they always talk about the automotive, which always gets out there. Obviously, with Lightspeed, we are the market leader in power sports and have been for decades. I mean, we're literally into year 42 of Lightspeed now. So we've been doing this for a long time. And then obviously we have a lot going on with our marine industry. We are the market leader in that too. And we're still pushing with RV. Our main two competitors in RV don't really, other than marine a little bit, they're not in power sports, so they're not in these other industries. So we're taking what we have done with Polaris and Honda and Yamaha or BRP for years, if not 10 to 20 years with some of these integrations, and now trying to adopt them to the RV industry. Some of the issues we've run into is in what is exciting is most of the RV manufacturers are in some sort of development phase with building out new internal systems and dealer
Yes.
portals with that. And it's like all the Thor brands, it's Forest River. I hear it from a lot of them. The issue with that is a lot of them are 12 to 18 month program, development schedules, and then there's issues with that. But I can see the light at the tunnel where if I have a call with Polaris or BRP, we're talking about this API and that API, and they have literally teams of developers that we're working with this stuff. So we're really trying to push the RV industry because again, they're selling a similar recreational product on that.
Sure.
They're doing the same processes. Lightspeed is the same system, regardless if you're selling a side by side, a motorcycle, a boat, or an RV. It is the same system. We hook up to different integrations, and obviously they would have different um, price books based on what they're carrying and stuff like that. But it's the same system as we continue to build this out.
Jeremy, real quickly then, let's say I'm a prospective OEM looking to partner with you. Take me through the process. Take me through, what do I need to provide you? What kind of a time frame are we talking about? What makes a good relationship with Lightspeed?
Well, first off, the thing I love about my job is when I talk about integrations is there's literally zero cost to the OEM. So there's no hurdle
Now you're
of
talking.
there's no hurdle of having to get this approved to do anything. When we launch these new integrations like the ones with Alliance and like Vinda coding and all these, there's zero cost to the dealer. It's just a brand new functionality that just starts magically working as soon as it's available. So part of my job, and I like to say, is at the end of the day, I'm a sales guy. I'm not a developer. I don't work in IT. I don't whatever. So I have to sell the idea of why this is going to help them. We both have a mutual customer in the dealer, and the idea is we want to make it easier for them to not be double typing pieces of information, having wrong information going in. When I always say, you know, everything starts with a VIN with most vehicles. And if you're doing a warranty claim or you're doing a unit registration or you're adding it into inventory, you have to have that proper VIN. Well, when you have 17 digits between, numbers and letters, one digit in the whole unit's not the unit that you thought it was. So we're trying to streamline that stuff. And a perfect example is we're really trying to get with RV manufacturers as we launched with BRP last year is warranty claims. Obviously, as we know in the RV industry, they happen all the time. Especially, with the PDI centers and all this other stuff, they're having to do all these warranty claims back to the manufacturer because they obviously want to get paid for it. So you always are going to have to create an RO in the DMS. Doesn't matter if it's Lightspeed or our competitors or whatever system they're doing. They have to be able to track a repair order. They have to be able to put labor and parts and have their tech, for accounting, for everything with their P&L. They have to be able to do that. So now you have 3 or 4 issues on a camper. You have multiple jobs. You have who knows, 25 different parts that need to be ordered. Now you have to get that to the OEM. So now you have to log into their portal and retype all this. With BRP, they just magically save the RO and the new button appears in our repair order and they hit it, and through our API, it automatically creates that warranty claim in their system. They still have to log in and then they approve it, but it takes away all this hand keying. I was just talking to another client yesterday, and it's kind of the idea is there's a reason we have smartphones today and we still don't have flip phones. I mean, some people do, don't get me wrong. I think my parents might still have a flip phone, but we use this technology to make our lives easier and to get rid of repetitive jobs with that.
Yep.
And that's really what we're trying to push. I love kind of hearing testimonials. One of the recent OEMs that we did a press release out, the day after that press release went out, one of our competitors were calling, wanting to do the same thing. We understand that what Lightspeed is, what my mission right now is, we will lead the industry to bring technology to the dealers. We hope our competitors will follow because it's good for the industry. But mark my word, Lightspeed will be the first to bring the bulk of these out on there. And what we're working with the OEMs is if we're creating APIs or different things they need to do, we don't necessarily want them to do them custom for Lightspeed. They're going to do them in a generic format that we will code to them, and then maybe IDS codes to them or Motility codes to them at some point. Again, we have been growing our development staff, our product department, so we have the teams in place. So when we get a OEM that says, let's do this, we want to be able on it. Since 2 weeks ago, I think I got VIN decoding information for 6 new Thor brands, and 2 of them are already live, and I would expect 1 or 2 more by the end of the week. So we're able to get the information in and then pump it out and get it available to the dealers.
Wow.
Impressive.
Very cool.
Registration opens in June for one of the premier events of the year, America's largest RV show, Education and Industry Days. 2 days designed for the RV industry professional, offering training, earning CE credits, networking options, and previewing the 2025 models from 45 different manufacturers. America's largest RV show industry days in Hershey, September 9th and 10th. Visit largestrvshow.com.
So, I mean, what we're talking about here is consistency in protocols, right? I mean, any business that you work in, it's not just our industry. Anytime you have to deal with a one-off, it's going to slow things down, right? Anytime you have to do something new, different. So consistency in protocols, and that leads to profit centers. And no matter what is happening on the sales side with new units or used units, there are profit centers to be made at the dealership, whether we're talking about F&I, fixed ops, or service and repair. What are some examples you can share, as far as a partnership with Lightspeed on the dealer side that kind of exemplify that?
Well, I think the biggest thing, fixed ops has been a huge topic, I think, with all the industries, because obviously unit sales have been down a little bit. So how do we increase parts? How do we increase service? And I think having tools, and obviously, one of the things that Lightspeed is constantly trying to help push with the industry is RECT, to get those numbers down. So having tools available and connections. So when you need to order a part, one of the things that we try to also get in Lightspeed is warehouse availability from distributors and OEMs. So if you need to add a part to a repair order or a purchase order, just a part you want to buy over the counter, we want to be able to have that displayed within Lightspeed so they don't have to take the time to say, oh, I got to log into this system and then go look it up where we can display it within one system.
Hmm.
Some other new tools that we've came out with is our service tech video, which has been around in automotive for years. So the idea is a repair needs to be done. Maybe it's out of warranty and it's going to be a couple $1,000s. So it's a big decision for the customer. And I also think we all think, are we getting one over the, are we getting wool over the eyes or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like, are they trying to sell me something I don't need? Oh, my brakes are fine or whatever it is. So now the techs can take a 1 to 2 minute video of the problem on the RV. It could be, in the kitchen on a cabinet, like this needs to be replaced. It could be something to do with the shocks or the axles or whatever it is. And they can literally text or email that to the customer, along with, they say, a workup of the repair order. So now they can see this is what it is, this is what it's going to cost, but this is actually them showing me, yeah, you can see the oil leaking from whatever seal, that probably needs to be replaced or whatever. So just trying to take technology, because we're seeing new younger dealers coming into the fold. I mean, obviously a lot of are handing down to maybe the next generation, whatever it is. So having a system that is intuitive to grow with your business. I mean, one of the things that we love with our system is we have a mobile app for Lightspeed. It's available on iOS and Android. It's actually free. And they can download it. It doesn't even take a user, so it actually adds more value to the dealership. But they can be out, the sales guy could be out in the lot on his phone looking up prices, or they can start repair orders, and the techs use it to check in and check out. So we're trying to take technology of the DMS and push that. And obviously it comes, the dealer principal has to be the one, or the GM or whoever it is, also has to implement processes within the dealerships to use this. And that has been some feedback from a couple owners like, oh, this is awesome, but my reps won't use it. Well, they're your employees, and you come up with new processes because you know what? That's the way it should be. I've always said, like, a lot of these dealers have been in business for decades and have been profitable and keep paying the bills and growing. But just because you did something 20 years ago doesn't mean it's better. I just recently did a blog that talked about, in the bottom of my toolbox, I have an old crank drill, and I don't even know if I got it from my dad or where I got it, but it just sits in there. And I use a story where I can take that out. It still drills a hole just fine, but I would rather use my DeWalt 20 volt and drill holes, especially if I have to drill multiple holes. But again, that's just technology where, you take the hand drill. That's like back in the day when everybody was handwriting everything. I mean, the whole idea where Lightspeed came from is there was a Honda dealer in Salt Lake City that was trying to figure out how to do inventory just for his parts. There was nothing out there to do it. So he hired basically a developer to come out, and they built the first system, which became Lightspeed. So then he's like, oh, I can do inventory for major units. And then it kind of spun from there. But it took a dealer kind of saying, like, this pen and paper stuff's kind of for the birds. And I don't need to do that anymore. Like, let's make this electronic. That's the idea with, you got Excel and Word, and Microsoft has become such a great tool where, even if you're just taking your personal notes or something, you can, I use Notepad all the time, even on my computer, where it's like, I don't want to forget that, so I can just open a quick tab, write a couple notes, and then go back and reference that. So I think we really have to embrace the digital world we're in. And that is what we're trying to relay to the dealers, that there's a lot of really good tools that'll help streamline your business, because ultimately what we want is them less time typing in anything in the computer systems and more time facing their customers and interacting and selling the experiences of what it is to own an RV.
Yeah.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I want us to sign off, just, being mindful of the time with you.
Yep.
Before we do though, Jeremy, how can people get in touch with you, even if they have a flip phone?
Even with the flip phone. So Obviously, our website itself is lightspeeddms.com. Obviously, OEMs or dealers, if you had questions, my direct number is 218-348-4015. You can call or text me, or my email is jeremy.johnson@lightspeeddms.com.
Very good. And even if you happen to be at your up north cottage, which is that picture behind you, you might even get cell coverage there. I don't know.
Ironically, we got fiber installed there like three
Oh,
years ago. So we actually have 1 gig internet at the cabin. And if I do go stand out at the dock, I can get cell coverage. But obviously, having a gig, I can get phone calls and do Zoom. It's actually quite nice. So we are planning a week up there that we'll actually be working at the cabin. But what a better way to wake up and have a Zoom call with that actually as is looking out the front of my front of our cabin.
Jeremy,
amazing.
that's awesome stuff, man. Thank you very much. Also, we want to again thank the PRVCA, Pennsylvania RV and Camping Association, for their sponsorship. I'm Rick Kessler. He's Chris Cieto and Jeremy Johnson. One more time, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.